We finally got to see which starter Pokemon we will get to choose from for our adventure in Lumio City in Pokemon Legends ZA, and there are many thoughts and feelings. I definitely don't think that a lot of people were expecting two of these starter Pokemon to come from the same generation, but hey, I think this is harder on Cyndaquil than it is on any of us. I think these starters are great choices to not only shine a light on some starters that needed some love and time in the sun, but also following Pokemon are back and they look so cute. But one of the main arguments happening right now in terms of the starters is, will they be getting new regional evolutions like the Legends Arceus starters or new Mega evolutions? I mean, this game is like the renaissance of Megas after all. For me personally, I'm hoping for regional evolutions. I think that it'll feel a little bit more long lasting for some of these Pokemon to have regional evolutions that are achievable in other games, whereas Mega evolution may not be available in all future entries into the series. Plus, I definitely think it would be better for the original Kalos starters of Fennekin, Froakie, and Chespin to possibly get the Mega evolutions instead. But hey, if we end up getting new Megas for them, I will still be just as excited. I've been waiting for scraps, literally crumbs of news about Pokemon Legends ZA and these Pokemon, so I will take what I can get. Plus, Megas are just plain awesome. If you are excited to see what becomes of Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile in Legends ZA, make sure to smash that subscribe button and stick around for a while. We can geek out together about it. But going off the assumption that they're going to be getting new regional evolutions similar to Legends Arceus, let's talk about what things one might have to look at in order to see where they might be going with them. If they're anything like the Hisuian starter final evolutions, they'll probably want to do some inspiration and influence based on the region that you can find them in. In the case of the Hisuian Pokemon, most got Japanese inspiration, such as Decidueye being a Ronin and Typhlosion being a yokai. So I don't think it'd be wild to think that the new Kalos starters will be the same with some possible French inspiration. Along with ties to the region that they can be found in, we could also look at the Pokemon's movesets, Pokedex entries, and the animal or plants, in Chikorita's case, that some of these Pokemon are based off of to look at some possibilities for what exactly they might turn into in their new evolution. This is all just me theorizing and guessing for fun. Hey, once again, nobody expected that two starters would come from the same generation, so Pokemon could literally just throw us for a loop for absolutely no reason at all, just to keep us on our toes. But the time has come. Let's dive into each Pokemon one by one just to discuss some possibilities I would like to see for them in terms of their final evolution. Now, first up, we're going to be talking about our girl Chikorita and the Meganium evolution line. Now, this has been one of the most controversial picks for a starter Pokemon I think I have ever seen. I have seen people that are so pro Chikorita that they're making whole videos about it, which I support, I stan, and then I see some people that are genuinely pissed about it, and I'm like, girl, I don't understand, I don't get it, I don't trust you. Chikorita and the Meganium evolution line to me have been a series of Pokemon that have deserved love and more spotlight and more attention for a very long time, so I'm very happy to see Chikorita being featured in this game as one of its starters, and I could not be happier to be sitting here talking today about it possibly getting a new evolution or regional or mega. Like, this is so exciting. I'm so happy for Chikorita. But let's get into the detail. Let's talk about what exactly I think Meganium would look like in a Kalos regional form. Now, of course, as many have noticed, Chikorita having disarming voice in its moveset that we can see in the trailer. I don't know if Pokemon meant to leave this in or not, but I believe this pretty much all but guarantees, I would be genuinely shocked if this was not the case, that Meganium, at least its Colossian form, is going to be a grass fairy type. Now, I've been saying this for years. I think that Meganium being a grass fairy type makes so much sense. I think that this would be so great, especially in terms of a new possible design. The Meganium evolution line has always been described as being a calm, soothing, and tender Pokemon, and I believe that the fairy typing would suit it perfectly. Now, for a grass fairy type Colossian Meganium, where exactly would this French inspiration come in and make sense for it? And I think in order for that to all make sense and to correlate to each other, we need to look at Meganium's Pokedex entries and see where we could tie in the Kalos and French reference to those. Its gold entry says, "The aroma that rises from its petals contains a substance that calms aggressive feelings." It's also said in its silver entry that Meganium's breath has the power to revive dead grass and plants. It can make them healthy again, which, if that doesn't sound like a grass fairy type to you, I don't know what does. Among its Pokedex entries across the series, Meganium's fragrance and soothing scent is something that is not uncommon to think about and is always brought up when we think about this evolution line. The way that we would tie Meganium's fragrance to France is that France is actually a key player in the world when it comes to the world of perfume. mean, we are talking about a Pokemon that smells so good that it brings things back to life. We have to, like, talk about this. This is absolutely something that could be possible. I can definitely see a potential design here with them using a different type of flower or maybe even a perfume bottle type of design to really bring in that French inspiration in a way that makes sense. Also, when the trailer first came out, I did do a quick Google search of trying to find out why exactly maybe these starter Pokemon specifically had been chosen for this trio, and one of the things that I found out was dinosaurs had been found in France, but specifically sauropods. And which Pokemon is a sauropod but Meganium? If this is the case, then I can absolutely see why Chikorita may have been chosen for this region. Another design throughout the internet that I have seen a lot of people using for a Colossian Meganium design is featuring the fleur-de-lis, which is a symbol of French royalty that means lily flower. I can also see them doing something along the lines of a grass psychic type for Meganium, but I definitely would prefer for them to do a grass fairy type. Next up is yet another Pokemon that fans are hesitant to accept in this trio for some reason, and that is going to be Tepig's evolution line with Emboar. Truthfully speaking, Emboar is also not my favorite of all of the starter evolutions, but I think that this is a fantastic opportunity to mend some of those feelings for a lot of fans who may feel that way about Emboar by giving it a new Colossian form. So I, for one, am very excited to see Tepig featured in this game and hopefully getting a new Emboar, because I think that Tepig is adorable and I love that it's getting another chance to shine. For Colossian Emboar's potential design, let's first take a look at its typings, because I think that there are two typings that are entirely possible for this Pokemon, and I have two completely different ideas of what this design would look like depending on which route they choose to go, so we're going to go one typing at a time and do both. The first type we're going to talk about for Colossian Emboar is going to be the potential of a fire ground typing. The inspiration of this design mainly coming from something else that is popular in the France region, and that would be truffles. The main way of finding truffles, of course, being truffle hogs or truffle pigs, and of course, with Emboar being a pig, put two and two together, it's entirely plausible that this is something that they could think about for a design. The second design that I would like to see potentially for a Colossian Emboar actually kind of stays in the same realm of the French culinary inspiration with a fire steel type Colossian Emboar. French cuisine is extremely popular and heard of around the entire globe, and so it would not be out of the question for there to be some sort of culinary based Pokemon, and I think Emboar, someone who loves to roast berries for its friends, I think it would not be uncommon for this Pokemon to be the one to receive it. I have seen several fantastic designs, which I will pop up on screen right now, of this possibility for a Fire Steel Colossian Emboar, where Emboar has a oven on its stomach, it has a mustache, oven mitts for hands. Like, I think that the idea of its stomach being an oven would definitely be one of the key parts of its design, and I absolutely thought about this, and this is something that I wanted the most out of this design, I think, if they're gonna do it. Emboar is one of the designs that I have seen a lot of theories of. A lot of people can't exactly pin down where this typing is going to lie. I've seen Fire Dark, I've seen Fire Poison, I've seen Fire Fairy, I've seen that it's going to stay Fire Fighting. Like, a lot of people have no idea where Emboar is going to end up, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about it. For me personally, I would love to see Fire Steel the most, and then Fire Ground second. Fire Steel because the only one we have, I believe, being Heatran. It'll be nice to have a Pokemon that is non-legendary to have this typing, and then for Fire Ground, of course, it's just a super cool typing. Plus, in my opinion, I believe that these two typings of Fire Ground and Fire Steel give the most design potential in terms of correlating it to France. Now let's go ahead and talk about our final starter of the day, which is going to be the Totodile evolution line with a possible Colossian Feraligatr. Totodile is the starter that I have seen getting the most hype, the most excitement for out of the trio, and honestly, I can't even blame people. Totodile is a fantastic starter. Very, very happy to see its return and for a potential new Feraligatr, and I think that even though this Pokemon is going to be the one that it seems everybody's the most excited about, do not count out Chikorita and Tepig and their final evolutions, because I know it is going to be something fierce. But back to Colossian Feraligatr, and what's interesting about a Colossian Feraligatr design that I can see is they all come from the same realm and place of inspiration, but all could have potentially different typings. Let me explain. So after doing some research about alligators specifically in France and Paris, I found out that there was a crocodile that once lived in the sewers of Paris that was captured and taken over to an aquarium. I also found out that there's a place called Alligator Bay in France that apparently has the largest population of alligators in Europe. That's kind of insane, so gators and crocs are kind of popular. Before I dive into the possible typings for this Pokemon, because of how I can see all of these typings working for its design, I think presenting the idea for the design first and then talking about potential typings for this case would make a little more sense. We all, throughout some span of time in our lives, have heard the story about the crocodile or the alligator living in the sewers, or alligators being in the pipes and in the tunnels underground. Like, isn't it kind of crazy that this story about an alligator monster in the sewers has just kind of spanned across time to where so many kids are probably deathly afraid that an alligator is just gonna pop up out of their toilet? So I can absolutely see Feraligator's design in the Kalos region being something centered around a sewer gator or sewer crocodile. I personally would also love to see whatever this design is end up being on all fours, especially given with its silver entry, it is hard to support its own weight out of water, so it gets down on all fours, but it moves fast. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this Pokemon could be on all fours. If anything, I think it would make complete sense for it to be on all fours with this particular design. But here comes the issue. It's typing. It's a little hard to peg down what exactly Colossian Feraligator with this design, what its typing would be. There's so many possibilities of a water poison type, poison signifying the sewer, or water dragon type, with dragon signifying that it's a monster that lives in the sewer, or water dark type, with it being, again, a monster that lives in a dark place, such as the sewer. So any of these typings are possible. I think the typing I would like to see the most would be a water poison type, but I can absolutely see them doing either the dragon or the dark typing as well. I know this is going to sound really silly, but I just wanted to include it because it's something that was in my thought process for Colossian Feraligator, but when I was thinking what exactly would this design look like, what do I have in mind other than the sewer gator, was Ruined Monty from Security Breach's DLC Ruin. I don't know, but like this was one of my very first thoughts, was just like this not very pretty looking gator monster just crawling through the sewer trying to get you. Maybe I've just played a lot of Security Breach recently, but like, I don't know, that was one of my first thoughts. But there you have it, there's the video. There is all of my personal thoughts of what I would like to see for potential Colossian evolutions for all of our new starters in Pokemon Legends ZA. These are all just theories and ideas of things that I would like to see and how I think they could relate it to France and the Kalos region, but as we know, Pokemon many a time has shown us that they completely sometimes will just turn left field, take a shot in the dark, and do something that literally none of us are expecting. So who knows? I don't know what to trust anymore from the Pokemon Company. Okay, like for all I know, these starters could all be a lie, and then the second we actually turn on Pokemon Legends ZA for the first time, there's a completely new set of starters. I mean, in Pokemon X and Y, there were 2 sets of starter trios to pick from, so who knows? I literally don't know what to expect. But definitely let me know down in the comment section below, not only which starter Pokemon you plan on choosing for your Legends ZA Lumio City adventure, but also let me know your possible ideas for a Colossian Meganium, Feraligator, and Emboar. Do you agree with any of my ideas or any of the artwork that you've seen today, or do you have any of your own ideas? I would absolutely love to hear them. This is one of my favorite parts of a new Pokemon game coming out, is just all the theories. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye! And just make sure to show some love to every Chikorita you see, because this is Chikorita's world and we're just living in it.